For 20 years, he worked the night shift at the same hospital. He never spoke, just walked the corridors. The doctors didn't even notice him. Until that night, when a young surgeon saw the surgical scar on his arm and froze. This scar, it was the kind only a surgeon could make on themselves. Welcome to Hidden Hero Stories. Before we begin this shocking story, tell me in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if you believe stories like these silent heroes need to be told, hit that subscribe button and help us keep these stories alive. St. Mary's Hospital in northern Chicago was one of the city's largest medical centers. This giant building that saved lives 24 hours a day would take on a completely different atmosphere at night. The corridors would quiet down, with only the rhythm of life support machines and the occasional footsteps being heard. The guardian of this night's silence was Robert Chen, a 48-year-old, medium-height, quiet man of Asian descent. His navy blue security uniform was always clean and neat. His walk was calm but alert, his eyes always watchful but never anxious. Robert had been working the night shift at St. Mary's for 20 years. Every evening he started work at 10, finished at 6 in the morning. His duties were simple: patrol the corridors, check visitor entries, call for help in emergencies. That was all. The doctors and nurses didn't even notice Robert. He was an invisible presence to them, just security. No one had tried to talk to him. No one had even tried to learn his name. Robert was content with this situation. Silence was his best friend. But tonight, everything would change. It was past midnight. Robert was returning from his usual round. The emergency room was a bit active. The usual chaos of Saturday night: traffic accidents, fight wounds, alcohol poisoning. Dr. Sarah Martinez was a 29-year-old emergency medicine specialist. She had been working at St. Mary's for 2 years, but had never noticed Robert. That night she was tired, having been on duty for 14 hours. As Robert passed in front of the emergency room, he saw Dr. Martinez examining a patient, a man in his 30s who had been injured by broken glass that fell on his hand. There was blood loss, but it wasn't life-threatening. "Nurse Johnson," called Dr. Martinez, "bring a suture kit to room 2. Robert stopped. The word suture sounded strange to his ears, the doctor's language, but it seemed familiar. Dr. Martinez was trying to remove the glass piece from the patient's hand, but her hand was trembling. Due to fatigue and stress, she couldn't perform the delicate procedure. "Damn it," she muttered. "This piece is lodged too deep." Robert was watching from the doorway. He saw the way Dr. Martinez held the forceps. It was wrong. If held that way, the glass piece could slip even deeper. "Doctor," said Robert quietly. Dr. Martinez turned, surprised. The security guard had spoken for the first time. "Yes? The glass piece is close to the nerve. If you approach from that angle, you might cause nerve damage." Dr. Martinez's eyebrows furrowed. "What are you saying?" Robert approached. "If you'll allow me." Dr. Martinez hesitated, but due to fatigue and uncertainty, she agreed. Robert examined the patient's hand. His eyes analyzed like a surgeon's eyes. Then he turned to Dr. Martinez. "Shift 15 degrees to the left. Enter from below the glass piece, lift upward. The nerve is 2 millimeters to the right of this." Dr. Martinez was shocked. How did this man know? She followed Robert's instructions. The glass piece came out perfectly. The nerve wasn't damaged. This was perfect," said Dr. Martinez. "How did you?" Robert was backing away. "Good night, doctor." "Wait," said Dr. Martinez. "Who are you really?" But Robert had already disappeared into the corridor. Dr. Martinez couldn't sleep that night. Where did the security guard's medical knowledge come from? And how could he describe that delicate intervention so precisely? The next night, Dr. Martinez decided to find Robert. She found him on his security round at 1 o'clock. "Robert," she said. She had learned his name from the personnel file. "You helped me last night." Robert stopped. "I only gave a suggestion." "No, it wasn't just a suggestion. You've had medical training, haven't you?" A line crossed Robert's face. "Number, I'm just a security guard." "Robert, I've been studying medicine for 7 years. The information you gave last night was from an experienced surgeon." Robert remained silent. "Please," said Dr. Martinez, "tell me the truth." Robert looked at Dr. Martinez for a long time. Then he took a deep breath. "I was a doctor once." Dr. Martinez's breath stopped. "What?" 1995 to 2010. Cardiovascular surgeon. I worked at this hospital. The world was slipping from under Dr. Martinez's feet. "This isn't possible. I've never seen you." "Because I was in a different department." "And," Robert's voice broke, "everything changed 15 years ago. What happened?" Robert rolled up his sleeve. Dr. Martinez saw a long, deep surgical scar on his arm, professionally stitched but old. "This scar," said Dr. Martinez. "I operated on myself," said Robert. "There was no other choice." Dr. Martinez froze. "You performed surgery on yourself?" Robert nodded. 2008, the earthquake in Haiti. I was there with the medical aid team. While trying to rescue a trapped child under the rubble, my arm got caught. Gangrene had started. The nearest hospital was 200 kilometers away. "And you?" "I cleaned the necrotic tissue in my own arm, with local anesthesia. My friend helped, but I did most of it myself." Dr. Martinez's eyes filled with tears. "My God." "But there was a complication. Nerve damage occurred. I lost the sensitivity in my hand. I became unable to perform surgery." Robert's voice was completely broken. "When I returned, I could no longer operate. My hand coordination was impaired. The hospital administration offered an alternative position, but I couldn't accept. Why? Because being a doctor wasn't just a profession. It was my identity. If I couldn't perform surgery, I wasn't a doctor." Dr. Martinez could understand Robert's pain. "What did you do then?" "I resigned. I suspended my medical license, and I started working here at the same hospital as a security guard." "Why the same hospital?" Robert smiled painfully. "Because I couldn't stay away from the hospital. Medicine is in my blood. At least I could be here." Dr. Martinez was trying to process Robert's story. 20 years. You've been working here for 20 years and no one knows?" "I don't want them to know. I'm not Dr. Chen anymore. I'm just Robert." "But last night I couldn't stand it. I saw you making a mistake and had to intervene." Dr. Martinez looked at Robert's hands. These hands had once saved lives. "Robert, you're still a doctor. A license doesn't make a doctor. Knowledge and experience do." Robert shook his head. Not anymore." But Dr. Martinez had seen the light in Robert's eyes. That light was still burning. Days passed. Dr. Martinez kept thinking about Robert's story. This man's experience and knowledge was very valuable, but he continued to see himself as a security guard. A week later, a major accident case came to the emergency room. A public transport accident, 8 injured at once. Dr. Martinez and her team were very busy. Robert was on his usual round. He saw the chaos in the emergency room. Doctors were running around. Nurses were in a panic. "Dr. Martinez," shouted the nurse, "patient in room 3 is having internal bleeding." Dr. Martinez couldn't leave the other patient. "Wait 2 minutes." Robert looked at room 3. The patient was in shock. His pulse was weak. The internal bleeding must be progressing rapidly. His instincts kicked in. Robert entered the room. "Nurse," he said with authority, "I need an emergency blood test. Hemoglobin, hematocrit, coagulation panel." The nurse was surprised. "Who are you?" "Robert Chen, cardiovascular surgeon, former cardiovascular surgeon." The nurse hesitated, but the patient's condition was critical. She ordered the tests. Robert examined the patient. Tenderness in the abdominal area, guarding present. Could be a spleen injury. "I need an emergency ultrasound," said Robert, "and call Dr. Martinez." When Dr. Martinez arrived, Robert had stabilized the patient. "Robert, what are you doing here?" "This patient has suffered a spleen injury, grade 3 to 4, emergency operation needed." Dr. Martinez looked at the ultrasound results. Robert's diagnosis was exactly right. How did you diagnose so quickly?" 20 years of experience isn't forgotten," said Robert. The patient was taken to surgery. Robert waited outside the operating room. Dr. Martinez found him after the surgery. "Robert, you saved a life tonight." Robert nodded. "I just helped." You practiced medicine. Real medicine." Robert's eyes filled. "But I'm no longer." "No longer what? Has your knowledge disappeared? Has your experience been erased? Has your compassion for patients diminished?" Robert couldn't answer. "Robert, I want to make you an offer." "What offer?" "Work as a consultant in the emergency medicine department, part-time. Mentor young doctors during night shifts." Robert was surprised. "Is this possible?" "I spoke with hospital administration. I found your past records. You have an excellent career. And right now, you've proven that you're still a great doctor." Robert was hesitating. I haven't done surgery for 15 years. But the knowledge is there. The experience is there. And most importantly, your compassion for patients is there. Robert thought for a long time. If I accept, do I have to quit my security job? Dr. Martinez smiled. Number, you can do both. Night security duty, day consultancy. For the first time, a real smile appeared on Robert's face. Is this really possible? Robert, you've protected this hospital as security for 20 years. Now it's time to protect it in a different way. Robert looked at Dr. Martinez. This young doctor was giving him a second chance. I accept. Dr. Martinez hugged Robert. Welcome back, Dr. Chen. That night as Robert went home, for the first time in 15 years, he felt his identity. He wasn't just a security guard. He was Dr. Robert Chen. The next week, Robert's new life began. During the day, he worked as a consultant in the emergency medicine department. In the evenings, he continued his security duties. Young doctors learned a lot from Robert's experience. He wasn't just giving medical knowledge, he was also sharing life experience. Dr. Chen, said a young intern, how can you diagnose so quickly? Robert smiled. Because I look at patients not just as cases, but as human beings. Every patient has a story. If you listen to that story, the body tells you what's wrong. A month later, Robert had made a big difference with his consultancy. The emergency room success rate had increased. Young doctors' confidence had risen. Dr. Martinez called Robert to her office. Robert, I have a surprise for you. What? Dr. Martinez handed him a file. Hospital administration wants you to return as a full-time emergency medicine specialist. Robert's breath stopped. Is this serious? Very serious. Your salary will be 5 times your security guard salary and full medical benefits. Robert looked at the file. It really was an official job offer. But I haven't been practicing for 15 years. You've been gaining experience for 15 years. Even while working as a security guard, you protected this hospital and its patients. Now we want you to protect them as a doctor too. Robert's eyes filled. I accept. That night, Robert wore a white coat for the first time in 20 years. He looked at himself in the mirror. Dr. Robert Chen had returned. Dr. Martinez came beside him. How do you feel? Like I've come home. Because you have, you never really left. Robert smiled. Thank you, Dr. Martinez. You reminded me of who I am. I just noticed you were already there. Months passed. Dr. Robert Chen had become one of St. Mary's most respected doctors. But he still sometimes did security rounds during night shifts, because those corridors were his second home. One night, a young intern approached Robert. Dr. Chen, can I ask you a question? Sure. How did you become so strong? Being able to come back after years, that takes great courage, Robert thought. You know, I never really left. I was here for 20 years. I was just playing a different role. I don't understand. As a security guard and as a doctor, I was doing the same thing, protecting people. Just my method was different. The young intern began to understand. So the real issue isn't what job you do, but why you do it. Exactly, said Robert. I was born to help patients. I can do this as a security guard or as a doctor. But being a doctor is more effective, isn't it? Robert smiled. Yes, but sometimes life takes you to the same goal through different paths. My 20 years of security experience made me a better doctor. How? Because I know the hospital from every angle. As a patient, as a doctor, as a security guard. This gave me perspective. That night, Robert went to his old security post. He had spent 20 years there. Now he was standing in the same place, but looking with a different identity. Dr. Martinez came beside him. Do you miss this place? Yes and no, said Robert. I learned a lot here. Patience, humility, serving quietly. And now you're using these in medicine. Exactly. Maybe those 20 years weren't wasted. Maybe what made me the doctor I am today was those silent years. Dr. Martinez understood. Your story isn't just a comeback story. It's actually a story of never leaving. Absolutely, said Robert. I was always Dr. Chen. I just sometimes forgot myself, but the story didn't end here. Because Dr. Robert Chen's past held a much bigger secret than St. Mary's Hospital. 2 months later, an unexpected visitor came to the hospital. A middle-aged woman, Linda Thompson. She had an old photograph in her hand. "I'm looking for Dr. Robert Chen," she said to reception. Dr. Martinez took Linda to Robert's office. When Robert saw the woman, his face went pale. "Linda," said Robert, his voice trembling. "Hello, Robert. I found you after 15 years. Dr. Martinez wanted to leave the room, but Robert signaled, "Stay, Dr. Martinez. This is a story that concerns not just me, but this place too." Linda put the photograph on the desk. It was a group photo taken after the Haiti earthquake. It included young Dr. Robert Chen and other medical aid volunteers. "Robert," said Linda with tears in her eyes, "you saved my daughter in that earthquake." Robert's breath stopped. "Emily." "Yes, Emily." She was 8 years old then. She had been trapped under rubble for 3 days. The doctors said we lost her, but you didn't give up. Dr. Martinez listened in amazement. "Linda, how is Emily now?" asked Robert. "She's 23 years old, final year medical student. And guess which specialty she chose?" Robert's eyes filled. "Emergency medicine?" "No," said Linda, smiling. "Cardiovascular surgery, to be like you." Robert collapsed into his chair. This isn't possible. After that earthquake, Emily grew up always talking about the doctor brother who saved me. We searched for you for years. When Emily decided to study medicine, she said, "I want to be a lifesaver like Doctor Robert." Dr. Martinez saw the shock on Robert's face. "Robert, how did you save Emily?" she asked. Robert took a deep breath. Emily's condition was very critical. She had been under the rubble for 72 hours. Dehydration, hypothermia, signs of multiple organ failure. What did the other doctors say? They said it was too late. But when I looked at Emily's heart rhythm, there was still a fight there. That little heart was still struggling, Linda added. "Robert, the surgery lasted 18 hours, without any break." Dr. Martinez was amazed. 18 hours? Emily had damage to her internal organs, kidneys, liver, heart. I had to repair each one by one. "And then?" asked Dr. Martinez. Robert's voice broke. "The surgery was successful. Emily was saved. But at the 14th hour, I started having problems with my own arm." "What problem?" "Because I was operating continuously. My blood circulation was impaired. A clot formed in my arm. But I couldn't leave Emily halfway and go." Linda intervened. "Robert, while continuing the surgery, he gave himself local anesthesia to dissolve the clot in his own arm and made a small incision to intervene on the operating table while operating on Emily." Dr. Martinez's jaw dropped. "You performed surgery on yourself while operating on someone else." "There was no other choice," said Robert. "Emily's life was more important than mine." Linda took something else out of her bag. "Robert, Emily wrote you a letter." Robert took the letter, opened it tremblingly. "Dear Doctor, Robert, I've been looking for you for years. My mother tells me what happened that day every year on my birthday. You didn't just save my life, you gave me a reason to live. I want to be a doctor too, like you, because I want to do for other children what you did for me. I'm graduating this year, and I want you to know that I'll mention you in my graduation speech. I'll talk about the angel who saved me. I hope I find you someday, and I hope you'll say, 'You did well to me. Love, Emily Thompson, M.D., soon.'" As Robert read the letter, tears flowed from his eyes. "Where is she now?" he asked. "University of Chicago Medical School. Graduation ceremony is next month, and she wanted to invite you." Robert was surprised. "Me?" "Emily wants to tell your story in her graduation speech. If you give permission, of course." Dr. Martinez looked at Robert. "Robert, this is a wonderful opportunity. Emily's story shows your real impact." Robert was hesitating. I was just doing my duty that day." Linda leaned forward. "Robert, you saved Emily's life. But that was just the beginning. Emily helped dozens of people during these 15 years, volunteered, studied medicine. Every good thing she did was a continuation of the life you saved that day. And now she's going to be a doctor too," added Dr. Martinez. "So what you saved that day wasn't just Emily, but all the people Emily will save in the future." Robert had never thought of this perspective. "Can you come to the graduation ceremony?" asked Linda. Robert nodded. "Of course." A month later, at the University of Chicago graduation ceremony, Robert sat next to Linda. When Emily came on stage, Robert's heart began beating rapidly. Emily was now 23 years old, a beautiful young woman, but Robert still saw that 8-year-old little girl. "Dear friends," Emily began her speech, "the reason I'm here today is because of a hero who saved me 15 years ago." The hall fell silent. "When I was 8 years old, I was trapped under rubble in the Haiti earthquake. For 72 hours, the doctors said they had lost me. But one doctor, Dr. Robert Chen, didn't give up." Robert's eyes filled. "That doctor operated on me for 18 hours. And during that surgery, risking his own life, he also intervened on his own arm." The people in the hall were amazed. Why am I telling you this story? Because that doctor didn't just give me life. He gave me purpose. He taught me that the hands that saved me that day could become hands that I could save others with someday. Emily found Robert in the hall. "Doctor, Robert Chen, if you're in this hall, I want you to know that your sacrifice that day didn't just save me. By saving me, you also saved all the people I will save in the future." Robert stood up. The hall erupted in applause. Emily came down from the stage and ran to Robert. Two people hugged each other, reunited after 15 years. "Dr. Robert," said Emily, "thank you, not just for my life, but for the purpose you gave my life." Robert looked into Emily's eyes. "Emily, I was just doing my duty." "No," said Emily, "you did far beyond your duty, and you taught me to do the same." After the ceremony, Emily told Robert about her future plans. "I want to become a cardiovascular surgery specialist, like you." "Are you sure? It's a very difficult field." Emily smiled. "I started with the most difficult case already, when I was 8 years old. If I could get through that case, I can get through the rest." Robert saw Emily's determination. "If you want, I can mentor you." Emily's eyes sparkled. "Really? Of course. We're also looking for a cardiovascular surgery specialist at St. Mary's. You can apply to the residency program." This is like a dream," said Emily. A few months later, Emily started the residency program at St. Mary's. Robert became her mentor. On the first day, when Emily saw the operating room, she stopped. "This," she said. "What happened?" asked Robert. "This operating room is exactly the same as what I saw in my dreams. For 15 years, I've always imagined working here." Robert smiled. Maybe it wasn't imagination. Maybe it was a goal. Emily's training began. Robert wasn't just teaching her medical knowledge, he was also teaching her how to approach life. "Emily," said Robert one day, "surgery isn't just technical skill. It also requires empathy, patience, and sometimes sacrifice." "Like it did for you that day," said Emily. "Yes, but you can do better, because you know both the patient and doctor perspective." Months passed. Emily was developing rapidly. Experienced doctors were amazed by her natural talent. One day, a critical case came. A 12-year-old child with a heart anomaly. A very complex surgery was needed. "Robert," said Emily, "can we save this child?" Robert examined the child. The situation was really difficult. "Difficult," he said, "but not impossible." "I want to assist you in this surgery," said Emily. "Are you sure? It's very risky." Emily remembered the day she returned to her 8-year-old self. "Robert, you took the risk for me. Now I want to take the risk for this child." The surgery lasted 12 hours. Emily tried to learn Robert's every move. "Emily," said Robert during the surgery, "you know this job by nature, because I'm learning from you. Number, because you were in that little child's place too. This empathy makes you a better doctor." The surgery was successful. The child was saved. Outside the operating room, Emily hugged Robert. "Thank you. You're not just teaching me medicine. You're also clarifying my life purpose." Robert smiled. "Emily, you were already ready. I just reminded you." Years passed. Emily became an excellent surgeon. She continued working alongside Robert. One day, a patient from Haiti came to the hospital, a young man experiencing post-earthquake complications. Emily turned to Robert when she saw the patient. "Robert, now it's my turn. I want to operate on this patient." Robert nodded. "You're ready." It was Emily's first major solo surgery. Robert waited outside the operating room. 6 hours later, when Emily came out, her eyes were teary, but she was smiling. "Successful," she said. Robert hugged her. "Congratulations, Dr. Thompson." "Thank you, Dr. Chen. But you know, don't you? Know what? This is just the beginning. What you taught me, I'm now going to teach others." Robert saw the determination in Emily's eyes. That 8-year-old little girl had now become a doctor who saves lives. "Emily," said Robert, "you're not my greatest success." Emily was surprised. "Why?" "Because you're your own success. I just opened the door. You walked the path." That night, Robert sat at home. He had a photo of Emily's first surgery in his hand. Dr. Martinez called. "Robert, did you hear about Emily's surgery?" "Yes, it was perfect." "But do you know what Emily said after the surgery?" "What did she say?" "She said what Dr. Chen taught me wasn't just surgery, it was learning to hope." Robert's eyes filled. And she added, "Now I'm going to teach other patients hope too." When Robert hung up the phone, he realized that 15 years ago when he saved Emily, he had actually saved himself too. Because Emily's success had enabled Robert to rediscover his own worth. Today, Dr. Robert Chen is not only Saint, Mary's chief emergency medicine specialist, but also Dr. Emily Thompson's mentor and source of pride. And Emily, from that little girl saved in Haiti, is now a powerful surgeon saving others. Together, they teach new generation doctors both medicine and life lessons at St. Mary's Hospital. Because real heroes don't just save lives once, they continuously save lives. And sometimes the people they save become their greatest works. As Hidden Hero Stories, we ask you, have you ever met someone like Robert? Someone who seemed to have lost their place in life but actually never left? Or like Emily, someone who was inspired by another's sacrifice and forged their own path? Write their names in the comments. Tell their stories. Because sometimes the strongest stories belong to heroes who seem lost but are actually always there. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, subscribe, share. Because each of us has a Dr. Chen inside, just waiting for the right time. We'll see you in the next one. Until then, pay attention to the silent heroes around you. They might just be waiting to be remembered.